So about 4 months ago, I made a video about my hands-on with Steam Frame, and that video has now generated nearly 100k views. And in that video, I was absolutely honest about my take on it. I was very hyped, I was very excited, but I wanted to address something that I see all the time on most posts that I make about like Steam Frame news, for example, on X. If you don't follow me, my handle's exactly the same as it is on YouTube on there. That's the place where if I find any like new stuff to share from Brad or anyone else or any data mining that's going on or anything about games really, that's where you'll find it. So about 3 times a week I try and go through lots of comments on the channel, and firstly, thank you ever so much for all the support getting this channel to 100k. I can't reply to everyone, but it means the world to me that you're all here, so thank you very much. But I wanted to talk about this comment that I see all the time. It is that Steam Frame won't save VR. Now, I've never said it will save VR, but I want to be clear right from the get-go. I am going to buy one. It doesn't really matter how much it costs. And that's because for this channel, it's quite important that I stay up to date and relevant with hardware. So I am excited for Steam Frame. Very excited for Steam Frame, actually. As I said in previous videos, I think the things we're going to see are a lot of people screaming about how comfortable it is. It's a super light, comfortable headset. I think we all know that now. That news is out there. But another thing I said in my first impressions of Steam Frame was that visually, it didn't do anything more than Quest 3 when it comes to just like looking at the menus in Steam, playing a standalone game, playing games in the mixed reality, which, as I've said before, is black and white. It was just like wearing a Quest 3, to be honest. What did wow me was the PCVR side of it. Using Steam Frame wirelessly with that level of like comfortability and the visuals, I thought were very good, like really good. And that's the main reason I'm interested in this thing. It'll be the first headset that I will probably genuinely, and I say probably because I don't know 100%, but out of every other headset, because it's comfortable, I'll more than likely want to be playing flat screen games, my Steam library games on a flat screen using the D-pad and the buttons. And obviously, as we know, we've got the split here for the triggers, right? So we've got the bumpers. But I think there's a reality check coming, especially with what happened with Steam Machine, where the price to what it offers doesn't weigh up. Unless you're a hardcore gamer and you love Steam and you love Valve, the majority of people, I think, who are casual gamers won't be buying Steam Machine. Or they might do later down the line, but at the moment they're probably on the fence or they're not interested. And I'm one of those people who have chosen not to buy a Steam Machine because ultimately, for the money, kind of thought to myself, realistically, how much use am I going to get out of this thing? It does have VR capabilities. To be honest, PCVR games, it's not exactly a thriving thing, PCVR. If anything, it's actually really struggling, more so than most people thought. Hence the reason that a lot of games we get are Questified. I think you guys like to say they're Questified graphics, and then they're kind of upscaled to PCVR. There are outliers, obviously. We do get some really good PCVR games, but I would argue that the majority of developers would agree that they don't see a lot of sales from PCVR games, unless they're, as I said, an outlier, like a Blade and Sorcery, I guess Half-Life Alyx, games that are really spectacular. So when it comes to the phrase, Steam Frame won't save VR, I agree. I don't think it's going to save VR. With all the hype, all these people talking about this headset, I just think to myself, we need to be realistic. This is what I think will happen when it releases. There's going to be a number of YouTubers, first of all, saying how amazing it is, and then maybe a little while later, you'll start seeing them using their Quest 3s again in their videos. Or you'll get the nice flip the content creators like to do, is that I was wrong about Steam Frame. That's what I think is going to happen, because you cannot get away from, as much as people might not like Meta, you can't get away from the value for money that Quest 3 brings to VR. It's pretty huge. Even at $599, I think, in case you haven't seen me and Bradley's episode, we spoke about this, the latest episode on our podcast. We both believe that the price will be $1,299. And the same thing's going to happen with the comparisons of Steam Machine to anything else out there, apart from form factor. Again, Steam Frame form factor is awesome. Steam Machine form factor is awesome. But it's going to be like, what can it do that my Quest 3 can't do? And that's where issues arise for the majority of people, especially when it comes to checking your wallet. How much money do I want to lay down for this? There's going to be a majority of people who've got a Quest 3. There's going to be some people as well who would just buy Steam Frame anyway. They're just hardcore VR enthusiasts. But when it comes to people saying Steam Frame won't save VR, I actually don't believe it will. Unless by some miracle, some sort of subsidy happens and this headset launches at the 799, 899 mark at a push, it won't be enough. It won't be enough to suddenly set the world on fire and everyone just starts playing VR. I believe that is exactly what's going to happen. It's a VR enthusiast product. For me personally, I want Steam Frame to succeed. And I really do hope that everyone who wants one gets one, especially at the launch, and then people really enjoy it. As I said, the form factor is fantastic. The PCVR is fantastic. When it comes to standalone games, there's going to be some weird conversations because they're going to go to that library of standalone games and find a lot of repetitive games that they've already owned on Quest 3. So they might have to rebuy them again. There's going to be a bit of piracy. It's definitely going to happen. I've spoke about this before. It's going to be pretty easy, I imagine, within weeks, to be playing Quest games on Steam Frame. What that means is people won't need to buy those games again. So would I be excited to play one of my favorite Quest games, Batman, on a Steam Frame? Absolutely. It'd be amazing because we're going to have more RAM. It is a more powerful headset. And with something like Quest Optimizer, which if you don't know what it is, you can change resolutions. You can basically push that headset further than the safety limits of what Meta want you to do. So if that came as well to Steam Frame, we would definitely get more performance. Your Quest games, I think, eventually will look better. All that means is adding to piracy. And that means that developers won't get any more money. And that means that it will, again, lean into this narrative that I keep seeing, this comment of it won't save VR. I am so happy that Steam Frame is coming. I'm also really happy that Valve are releasing a new VR headset when, to be honest, I don't know what Meta are going to do. I don't know what they're going to do in the future. Only a couple of days ago, I learned that Combat Waffle, developers of Ghost of War, have had their funding pulled for a game they were making. So they've had to basically downsize their team. And they haven't said it was a Meta-funded game, but I would bet it was a Meta-funded game. And Meta are now again shrinking their investments into VR gaming. We know about Phoenix. I'm hoping for some reason that headset is something people are interested in. But I think the days of cheaper headsets like the Quest 3S are long gone. But like with those sorts of headsets are not going to exist. But in the meantime, Steam Frame is going to be like the most expensive recent headset released. And people are going to I think they're just going to be really angry. When it releases, they're going to be thinking this was meant to save VR and it won't. I think a lot of people will stick to their Quest 3 for a long time. They're going to watch reviews. They're going to see whether people think it's that much better. And I think what you're going to hear, and this is after me using it, and that's probably the only difference between all the other videos you see is that I've actually used it, is that if you're a PCVR user, you're going to want it. You're going to want it for wireless VR because that's what it's made for. People are talking about it being wired. I'm not interested in the wired thing, man. I see that as a real backstep for VR, to be honest. I can't wait personally to play my games wireless without paying that price of losing visual quality. That's what I'm excited about. But realistically, you're only going to be playing the same PCVR games you've played previously. And that's where I think this is going to not necessarily flip VR on its head a little bit. I think it's going to cause some internal debate. And I just wanted to put a video out there that I've never said it was save VR. And people say it to me all the time, like, I'm saying it, I just can't help but be excited for it. Because as I said, after using it, I want it. Will I use it more than my Quest 3? I actually don't know, possibly. But if there's a game that's only on Quest 3, I'll probably still be using my Quest 3 as well. But what I do think it will do is add another option from a company that has got the world's biggest game store. And I really hope that they back this thing up with some software. I don't think they will. I think it'd be very strange to release a brand new VR headset and not have any new software with it. But I'm kind of getting the feeling that that's going to happen. We're just going to get Steam Frame. It's going to be very expensive for a lot of people. And we're then going to see a lot of people then backtrack on how excited they were for it because they've already got a Quest 3 and they're going to be thinking, is it that much better? But yeah, I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. I just wanted to make a video where I think we need to temper expectations. There's going to be some negatives. There's going to be some unknown negatives as well. Like, I don't really know how for a long period of time these controllers are going to feel in my hands. I don't really remember what the grip buttons are like. I did have a problem with the rumble motors. They were very loud and they were very basic. That means a lot to people, haptics. But it was a developer headset. It might be different upon release. So yeah, I'm still hyped for it. I'm 100% buying one because I've been excited for this thing before I used it and then even more after I used it because I love PCVR. And I just want to know your take on it. Where are you right now? Are you thinking I've got a Quest 3 and I definitely want to get theme frame because I just don't want to be on Quest anymore? Or are you just a hardcore PCVR user looking for like a really good wireless PCVR headset? Again, thank you for the play button. I really, really appreciate it. I can't quite believe it. My family have been amazed that we've even got one of these in the house. It's really cool. And I look forward to your comments.